bell ringer lived in the tower's shadow. At dawn, he rang the bell. At dusk, he rang it again. His father had done the same, as did his father's father before him. No one remembered when it started. They only knew it marked the beginning or the end of the workday. Forgotten and ignored, the bell ringer watched the town artist from atop the tower. She sat in the square, effortlessly painting strangers with graceful flicks of her wrist. "Would that I could have such recognition," the bell ringer muttered. "The bell tells the villagers when to work, the bell tells the villagers when to play, yet no one ever praises the bell. No one thanks me. No one notices me," the bell ringer yelled from inside the bell tower. He watched as people gathered around the painter, thinkers, orators, travelers, lovers, and royalty. It seemed like they laughed in colors as they praised her skill and bought her artwork. The bell ringer's envy burned like wildfire, scorching the soil of his soul. One evening, the bell ringer rang the bell, marking the end of the workday. As the bell tolled, the bell ringer heard a voice, not in language, but in feeling, like a longing whispering through the leaves. It stirred something bitter inside of him, fanning the fuel of his envy. He followed the call and left the village gates for the first time in years. Beyond the trees and brush, the bell ringer found a clearing. In that clearing, there was a plot of soil, black dirt with a faint violet hue, and from the dirt a porcelain hand extended from the center, waiting, expecting. Beside the porcelain palm stood a cloaked figure in foreign garb. It wore a black coat and a top hat made of fabric that appeared to be woven by the shadows. As if by instinct, something inside of the bell ringer recognized the entity reaching from the plot, and the strange man who stood beside it. "My God," the bell ringer muttered. "The idle man, the one beneath," he said out loud. "The one beneath the plot calls," the idle man said, emotionless. "Feed the symbol of your envy, bell ringer. The one beneath offers talent, skill, and praise for the rest of your days," the idle man said. The bell ringer hesitated. He could turn back. He could walk away. He could develop the talent himself if he so chose. But then he thought about the painter. The bell ringer grit his teeth. Then he thought about the bell, ringing it day in and day out. His heart felt like a clenching fist. Then the bell ringer stared at the idle man and at the porcelain palm. "The plot calls, yet the choice to respond is yours," the idle man said to the bell ringer. There was a slight pause. The bell ringer thought about his age, his loneliness, the tireless and unpraised, unrecognized work of climbing the tower each morning, each afternoon, and every evening, ringing the bell every morning, every afternoon, every evening, and then watching the villagers and the village itself move on without him. No praise, no thanks, no acknowledgement. "I will give anything," the bell ringer said. "Anything, anything, anything," the bell ringer repeated. The idle man gestured at the porcelain palm. "Feed the one beneath. Praise and talent call your envy," the idle man said to the bell ringer. The bell ringer smirked and nodded. That same night, the bell ringer climbed the tower. He untied the worn hemp rope that his father and his father's father had retied, reupholstered, and passed down to him. the same rope that he himself had retied, reknotted, and reupholstered, and had planned to pass down to the son or daughter that he never had. The work of ringing the bell and tying the knot was as much his family's legacy as it was his own. Then the bell ringer returned to the clearing. He placed the beautiful rope into the waiting porcelain palm of the one beneath. The one beneath closed its palm, and its hand sank into the plot. The next morning, the bell did not ring. Without the morning bell, the baker missed his kneading. No bread was baked, no ovens were turned on. The scent of food did not fill the plaza. The shepherd let his flock wander too far. No meat was brought to the butcher, no lambs, no cattle, no animals were heard within or around the village. The children, too, slept in, as did their parents. The weavers' looms sat idle, and, to the bell ringer's content, the artist overslept. As the days slipped by, a hush crept over the village. Visitors stopped arriving. Businesses died. The artist stopped painting, and workers simply stopped working. No one knew what time it was anymore. Nothing marked the morning or the evenings, much less the afternoons. And the bell ringer? Well, true to the pact, the bell ringer painted. He painted brilliantly, praised by villagers who did nothing else. They didn't eat, they didn't sleep, they didn't work, they didn't paint, they didn't weave, they didn't create. They simply stood by the bell ringer, watching him paint, all day, all night. Soon, the town began to crumble, but the bell ringer's praise and portfolio grew. Still, the admiration and praise wasn't enough. Eventually, the bell ringer returned to the plot, asking the one beneath for more. "The villagers are tired, exhausted, and lazy," the bell ringer shouted. "They stand idle, absorbed into my work, yet none tell me how important I am. No one tells me I matter," the bell ringer shouted, tears in his eyes. With each visit, the one beneath the plot demanded something more. It started small at first. A lace, a button, a hat, a piece of paper, and then a brush, a glove, and finally, every new painting that the bell ringer made. Soon, the bell ringer became a pale, lifeless shade of what he used to be. He painted obliviously, as if in a trance. The villagers, devoid of life, color, and the spark that fueled their days, along with the bell that marked those days, started noticing something they had never noticed before. They noticed each other in a sinister way. "You, seamstress," one villager shouted. "I want to weave as you do, as you once did. Give me your talent. Give me your skill." "You, butcher," another shouted. "I cleave better than you and your clumsy cuts. Give me your market. Give me your meats." Without noticing, the villagers found themselves envying each other and who they used to be. Then the one beneath the plot whispered to them too, and one by one they made their offerings. And eventually, one day, the town square stood quiet. Homes began to crumble, the bell tower decayed, and the bells rusted. Only the bell ringer and his paintings remained. His envy had spread throughout the village, affecting and afflicting every villager it touched, leading them to the same plot, the same soil, and to the one beneath, as presented to them by the same idle man who stood over the plot. Eventually, there was no one left to watch the bell ringer paint. All the villagers had either died from their envy or simply moved away. In the end, the bell ringer painted one last piece, a porcelain hand, pale against a field of ruined bells. As he painted this porcelain palm, the bell tower collapsed, leaving behind a tomb of the village that once was, a shrine of the envy that the villagers possessed. When the bell ringer completed the painting, he heard a bell ring in the distance. Tired and worn, the bell ringer sighed his final breath and said, "The plot called. I answered. The plot thickens."